30-win DS Sports and Tri-State Megabucks present Stars and Strikes Doubles. Stars and Strikes Doubles is sponsored in part by Somerville Lumber. Stars and Strikes Doubles is produced in conjunction with the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association. And now your hosts, Doug Brown and Dan Murphy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Londonderry Bowling Center. And this is week 2 of Stars and Strikes Doubles, our second series of the 1992-93 season. We're glad to have you with us, Doug Brown, along with Dan Murphy. And after last week, when we had a very close match, a defensive struggle, we've got a team coming back looking for their second win, and they've got some pretty tough opponents, I think.
That's right. They're going to have to be a little sharper today. Scores weren't high, but it certainly was an exciting match. Went right down to that final frame.
All right, let's introduce our 4 bowlers for this afternoon's show. First of all, our returning winners from last week, our number 5-seeded team from Meredith, New Hampshire, Al Bolduc, and his partner from Norwell, Mass, Bob Whitcomb.
Okay, Al comes in averaging 116, his roll-off score 658, and his partner Bob Whitcomb at 121, and his roll-off score again at 657.
All right, and last week, Al and Bob were able to knock off Peter Pereira and Jack Sanick by a score of 336 to 329. They had to sweat it out until the final box, though, before the match was finally decided. And today they will go for 2 wins in a row, and they will face our number 3-seeded team from East Boston, Mass, Bruno DeFeo, and his partner from Claremont, New Hampshire, Steve Vadney.
Okay, Bruno comes in averaging 124. His roll-off score, getting up there now in the scores with the roll-off, at 683. Steve Vadney at 128 for an average and 678.
All right, and of course, the winners in this match will move on to our semifinal match next week. The runners-up today will settle for 4th place prize money of $200, and we'll be back and have 3 strings of candlepin bowling for you. Doubles format here at the Londonderry Bowling Center, and we'll have it starting after these messages. Don't go away.
Who would you be if you were rich?
I always wanted to be Henry Ford.
I'd be an up-to-date Rudolph Valentino with a tent in Saudi Arabia and about 12 wives.
I'd be Clint Eastwood.
John Obama.
I'd like to be Errol Flynn.
I'd be Don Corleone.
If it was anybody that I wanted to be, it would be Joe DiMaggio.
I'd be Johnny Cash.
Fred Astaire.
And Ginger Rogers.
I'd still be Nectar. Who else?
Isn't it fantastic to be rich?
I'm renovating my kitchen, and when you're doing that, you got to get it right the first time. It's your kitchen, so Somerville Lumber, they're the kitchen design experts. They've got everything, the largest selection, the lowest prices, and, I love this, free delivery. I'm really personally proud I stuck with it, and I did have a little help with Somerville Lumber, but I may not tell everybody that, but I know that they helped me.
For more rock, less talk, switch to 93.7 FM. Rock 93, WCGY, Boston's best non-stop rock. With Morin in the morning, Warfield in the afternoon. The best classics at today's non-stop rock. More rock, less talk. We let the music do the talking. For more rock, less talk, switch to Rock 93, WCGY, Boston's best non-stop rock.
Last week, if you missed it, we had a terrific match with Al Bolduc and Bob Whitcomb eking out a 7-pin victory over Peter Pereira and Jack Sanick, 336 to 329. So Al and Bob return to try and make it 2 in a row this afternoon. Next week, the winners of this match move on to face Mike Poulin and Mike Morgan. And then the number 1 spot 2 weeks from today in our finals of this series, Gary Carrington and Joe Ashline will come in to try and defend that number 1 spot. But right now, some business to attend to with these 2 teams. And first to go, Bob Whitcomb.
Interesting stat that we were talking about, Doug, before the show as far as marks on lane 30 and lane 29 last week. Of course, that was 10 minutes ago, so I forgot what you told me, but it was interesting. I know we had a lot more. 12 and 6, 18 marks total. and 12 of them were on lane 29.
And it was actually a much wider margin than that in the first two games when both teams were really struggling on lane 30. Bob Whitcomb starts this match on lane 30 with a 10 bucks.
7-pin drop. Not an easy spare, though. 3, 5, and then, of course, the sleeper in the back, the 9-pin. You have to be heavy enough on the 3 to carry the 9, but can't be too heavy because you'll leave the 5. Bob's waiting for one of his bowling balls to return. Blue, black, and red. That's the color of bowling balls today. There's 3 sets out there, all the same color.
Is that like the in pattern?
I don't know. It's a little confusing.
Here's Bruno DeFeo. And yes, he does look familiar because just a few weeks ago he was on with us on the singles show at noon, and that day Bruno lost a devastating close match to Peter Flynn. It was a semifinal match, and Bruno had the last at bat in that one and needed 2 10s to tie and a mark to win. And he came up with a pair of 9 boxes and wound up losing by 2. And I was talking with Bruno before the show, and he just said that he was trying to put it out of his mind, and actually he's been bowling quite well since then. And so he's been able to just kind of put that away and move on, which is the best way to deal with it.
That's right. I mean, it's not a point where he had missed 2 easy marks.
Right.
He hit both spares, we thought. Obviously, he didn't get them, so I guess he didn't hit them correctly, but he certainly looked good going down. But he made an interesting statement to me. He says, maybe luck comes with experience.
Well, that's truer words may never have been spoken.
Right.
Yep. Bruno looking for his first win on Stars and Strikes. He's 0-2. Of course, the guy he's paired with today has a little bit of experience, just a little.
He's got a few wins here. Stars and Strikes.
He's talking about Steve Vadney, of course, as Bruno comes up with a pair of 8s. Here's Al Bolduc. And Al's right in the pocket, and he carries the 10-pin, leaving the 5.
Just like the head pin, right down the center of the lane is the 5. And he covers that without a problem. Spare in the 3rd.
First mark for either team. But off to the left on the fill, just 3. And the 8. Well, that was hard work for Al after that spare.
41 through 4. Our first look at, what's his name?
Refer to your score sheet.
Steve Vadney.
I noticed that before the match, I had never seen Steve do this before. He was counting off the exact number of steps. In other words, he was putting his feet toe to heel and backing up from the foul line to see exactly how far away he wanted to get on the approach.
So he lost count because he just missed it to the right of the head pin. I'm only joking. I'm joking with Steve all the time. He does that. Just gives him a reference point of where he wants to start his approach. A lot of bowlers used to do that. A friend of mine and a friend of yours, Doug, and a friend of everybody else used to sit in for us, Gary Duffett. I probably shouldn't say this, but he used to put a little pencil mark on the approach.
Is that right?
Yes.
Is that legal?
I don't know, but I didn't like it in my place. I was sweeping the lanes one day. Who's marking pencil marks on my approaches? And then I saw Gary the next tournament do the same thing.
And of course, he's no longer in the area to defend himself.
Well, we banished him from New England for doing that.
Steve Vadney today making his 40th appearance here on the Winds. Of course, the vast majority of them on the singles show. He is 27-12 in his 39 previous appearances. Bob Whitcomb, his team with a 7-pin early lead.
Tried it on the inside. Good effort on the 1, 2, 4, 6, 10. 4, 6, 10 left now. Trying to get out of town with a 9 box. Make it 8.
49.5 for the team of Bolduc and Whitcomb. And this time it'll be the 3, 6, 10 to the right and the 4-pin over on the left with Wood. You could maybe throw the 3-pin over into that Wood. Something good might happen.
Close.
Nope, not quite. So a couple of open frames here in the 5th and 6th for Bruno DeFeo to work on here. Bruno from East Boston, Mass. Works for Fleet Bank. Does a lot of his bowling right in East Boston at Central Park Lanes. And he is right on the head pin that time for a big strike. Good looking delivery that time for Bruno.
You see the ball right dead in the 1-3 pocket, and just a matter of he's going to get a 9-pin drop and leave the 4-pin, or is the 4 going to topple down in it? Of course it did for the first mark for the team, and it's a big one. It's a strike.
Held on to that one a little bit too long. Pulled it left.
Six on the strike.
Enough to give his team a 1-pin lead, but he'll have to take care of all 4 of these to maintain the lead. Gets 2. 58 through 6.
Well, it's starting off like last week. Low scoring, but close. And it certainly was exciting last week. Jack Sanek got up in the 10th frame needing 2 strikes and was able to get the first one.
Actually, it was a funny match last weekend. There were a fair number of marks. One team had 10, the other team had 8, which in doubles is maybe about average, but certainly not low. But it was the fills on marks and the fact that not many of the marks came consecutively that was hurting the teams. Here is the 1, 2, 7, 10. Got a chance, missed the head pin.
That's not the pin you want to be shooting at with a 3rd ball. Of course, that being the head pin.
At the end of last week's show, Al was joking about the fact that maybe the bowlers ought to consult you for some lessons after their struggles last week. So have you talked to them since then?
No, I haven't. No. I was joking with Al, though. I thought, well, maybe you 4 should take up another sport where you can bowl. Just kidding. Just kidding. One of those days that all 4 bowlers just weren't on top of their game, and very rarely do you see that happen, but it did last week.
Is there anything specifically that you would recommend to somebody when they go into a prolonged slump like that? What do you do, or what have you done?
Well, you just got to go out and work it out of it. I would try different things on the approach, but it's different when you're in front of the cameras, because in the mixed doubles, there's not much room to make any adjustments because you're only up there every sixth frame, so it's difficult. Singles, you might want to experiment a little bit left, right, forward, and back on the approaches to get yourself a different angle coming at the pins. And this is the problem. The bowlers were just not hitting the head pin with the first ball. Steve Vadney may steal a spare here, but not quite. So if you're missing to the right, I always want to move to the right. Just give me a different angle coming at the pins.
Scotty Larrick removing a piece of stray wood, that piece that came well off the plate. Giving Steve a clear shot at the 6-10 here, which he covers for the 10 box, leaving the deficit at 1. Our presenting sponsor here on Stars and Strikes Doubles, as always, Tri-State Megabucks. Just imagine being rich. Give it a try. Tri-State Megabucks.
Steve Vadney, the 3 and the 6 left.
Yes. That's Steve's first mark of the day. Second for the team. Back to Bob Whitcomb now. Crossing over, and that was kind of a delayed half Worcester almost.
Wasn't it?
You could almost hear each pin go out separately. Normally they sound like they're going out as one.
It was a hard half Worcester. It seemed like each pin was knocked down with separate balls, but it was the same one. And you have 2 rocking. Head pin again, shooting at it with a 3rd ball. Fortunately, you're not going to score well when you leave that head pin up. It's got to be, you got to be on the head pin at least 90% of the time to really start scoring in this game, especially at Londonderry Bowling Center. It's a fair scoring house, but not a fast house.
Oh, there it is. I think Bob was listening.
Yeah, I got this game figured out. You're supposed to hit the head pin with the first ball. He did cross over in the 1-2, and this usually is not his pocket, but he got good mixing action there, and it's the strike, first strike of the match for the team. That evens the mark up at a spare and a strike apiece.
Hold on here, hold on. And it'll be a 9. A 105 for the team of Bolduc and Whitcomb. They had a 106 to open up last week's match.
Now Bruno DeFeo will fill the spare put up by Steve Vadney and will take the lead with this fill, at least temporarily.
Again off the head pin, half Worcester right.
And not an easy spare with the wood in behind the head pin. It's going to kind of deaden the ball, almost like you have to shoot at the 3 pin and have the wood snap around. And also it flew the head pin directly to the right sidewall instead of back towards the 10 pin. Gain a couple more and count, at least 1. Watch the head pin and the 3 pin right to the sidewall. Came back to get the 3 and the 6. Well, needs a mark to maintain his lead of 7.
Big 9 drop, leaving the 6.
Everything but that 6. Never touch the 6 pin.
Right on it for the spare.
Gives him 103 in the 10th. Anything over 2, they will still have the lead.
Bruno punches through, but works out with a 6. That'll be enough to give his team the lead after the first game. It'll be 109 for DeFeo and Vadney, 105 for Bolduc and Whitcomb, and we're back with game 2 in a minute.
How do you peel a bushel of potatoes? One potato at a time. But not with that. With this, introducing Farber Peel, the exciting new electric peeler from Farberware. Farber Peel peels carrots, peels potatoes, peels cucumbers in a fraction of the time. It sheds onion skin before you can shed a tear, and it zips through those thick peels your old-fashioned peeler can't touch. Farber Peel is so strong it can strip the tough ends off broccoli, yet it's so gentle and safe it can peel a tomato for stewing or canning. It can even peel a grape. There's never been a better way
way to prepare those healthy, fresh vegetables. And there's even a built-in blemish remover. But Farber Peel does a lot more than just peel. Use it to make paper-thin potato chips and perfect decorative garnishes. Imagine getting this many slices from a single mushroom and slicing radishes this easily without slicing your fingers. Make shaved chocolate for your favorite recipes, great cheese for omelets and pasta, and get perfect julienne slices for salads and stir-fry. You can even use it to shred cabbage for coleslaw. Right-handed, left-handed, it makes no difference. With Farber Peel, everyone's a food pro. Even make party platters like this. No strain, no effort. To clean, just slip out the blade and pop it in the dishwasher. But here's the best part. Farber Peel is a genuine Farberware product. And if you order now, you also get this coupon book good for $10 toward other Farberware favorites. You get Farber Peel and the Farberware coupons for only $29.95. If you're not delighted, return the peeler and keep the coupons as a gift. Here's how to order.
To order your Farber Peel, call 1-800-227-1900. Have your Visa or MasterCard ready, or send a check for $29.95 plus $4.95 shipping and handling to Farber Peel, 9180 LaSainte Drive, Fairfield, Ohio, 45014. Or call 1-800-227-1900.
Steve Vadney to lead things off here in Game 2. His team up by 4. I think Steve's having trouble figuring out.
Yeah, it's Steve and Bob and Al all have the same color bowling balls.
Now, I wonder if you blindfolded them and gave them those different bowling balls, if they'd be able to tell the difference. I wonder if they're all the same weight, they probably wouldn't be able to tell.
I would be wondering if that was his or somebody else's. It's one thing losing the match, but losing with somebody else's ammunition.
Big first ball that time for Steve to start this game.
If it was somebody else's, he's going to switch. That strike was a quick one. Looking for the double, or at least the 5-pin to go? No. 4, 5, 7. Very difficult spare. 4 and 5 are on the same plane. Then, of course, you got the 7-pin. Almost like you had to play inside of the 4 and come off the wall. That's what he was trying to do. 2 full. 8 fill on the strike.
.27 opening pair for Steve.
What do you say? What do you say?
Now Al Bolduc. See Al's record 1-2, getting that first win last week.
Well, let's see where the wood settles down. The problem, of course, is going to be the 7-pin, I would say. And I don't know if the wood is out far enough for him to carry the ball off that for the 7-pin or not, but he's going to try to do it.
Nope. Al puts a pretty fair amount of spin on that ball when he releases it.
Ball breaks from right to left. Gets underneath the ball and, oh, just missed the 3-pin, cutting it over into the 4 and 7.
$9. So the lead is increased to 12 for the team of DeFeo and Vadney, and Bruno steps back up to the line now. The winners of this match will return next week to face the Mikes. Mike Poulin and Mike Morgan. That should be a pretty good team.
Seem to be on paper. Of course, we have waiting in the wings the top-seeded team, Gary Carrington and Joe Ashline. A little news about Joe Ashline, too. Just recently bowled a 505 for 3 games.
Is that right?
Waiting for the official recognition of a state record. Unofficially, it is.
Where was that recorded?
At leader lanes. Lanes 1 and 2.
10 bucks for Bruno, leaving a couple of open frames for Bob Whitcomb.
46 through 4 completed frames. Bob Whitcomb opposite 2 open frames. Boy, spread eagle.
.505, by the way, for 3 games, in case you were wondering, is 168. A little better than 168 per game.
Yeah, I didn't hear what his individual games were, but I was assuming that if it was a real big single, they would have mentioned that too, also, or mentioned it also to me, but they didn't. So.
Well, I'm sure Joe will be able to tell us all about it when we see him.
Probably have a score sheet with him.
Well, every once in a while you see this, the back row, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Looks like he should go after the wood on the right-hand tip and the 9 pin. That's what he's trying to do, and 10 pin was the problem. Bob Whitcomb looks like put on another 20 pounds. He could be a good tight end.
Very intense when he's up there. That'll be a 9 box for Bob. And we will take a timeout with the lead now for Bruno DeFeo and Steve Vadney going to 14 as we pause near the halfway point of this match here on Stars and Strikes Doubles. Don't go away.
Who would you be if you were rich?
I always wanted to be Henry Ford.
I'd be an up-to-date Rudolph Valentino with a tent in Saudi Arabia and about 12 wives.
I'd be Clint Eastwood.
Ronald Palmer.
I'd like to be Errol Flynn.
I'd be Don Corleone.
If it was anybody that I wanted to be, it would be Joe DiMaggio.
I'd be Johnny Cash.
Fred Astaire.
And Ginger Rogers.
I'd still be Nectar. Who else?
Isn't it fantastic to be rich?
When I decided to renovate my bathroom, and I had chosen Somerville lumber mainly because of the savings there and the selection, which is incredibly big. And on top of that, it's free delivery. And now that it's done, my sense of accomplishment, I feel like I could do like anything. I may attack the kitchen. Save yourself some aggravation and just go to Somerville lumber and know that you are getting it right the first time. I didn't feel like I was lost. And look at it. It's beautiful in here.
Have you heard about the change at Light 92.5 FM?
Light 92.5 now plays nothing but the best light rock of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and today.
With less talk and fewer interruptions than ever before.
And Light plays no hard rock, but no boring background music either.
So join the switch to the new Light 92.5 FM, WLYT.
Here's 3 more great reasons to buy from the professionals with the personal touch. Saab Nasher has one of the area's largest selections of new and used Saabs with over 75 in stock. You can still buy now and take advantage of 0% financing on new 93 Saabs. And while they last, take incredible discounts of up to $10,000 on remaining 92 models. Saab Nasher consistently provides the extras in service, selection, and value that really does set us apart. Saab Nasher, we're the professionals with the personal touch, located at 180 Daniel Webster Highway, Nashua.
Steve Vadney now. Taking a little practice swing. Talked about Steve Vadney and the number of appearances he's made with us. The last time he was here was back in May when he was teamed with Joe Ashline, and they won 3 consecutive matches to win our first Stars and Strikes Doubles Tournament of Champions.
Oh,
This
he may
carry.
get it.
Oh, yes. Steve had to shoot it down, but he had a feeling it was going to go.
And he was playing, I think, for the tip of this wood out front, missed it. Second wood came back and nudged that piece of wood over to get the 7-pin.
That ball seemed to drift on him a little bit to the left.
Just the 4 fill. Deja vu last week. Bowlers just could not get the big fills on the spares.
And it'll be a 10 box. Al Bolduc.
Keep referring to last week, but same type of match. The team that's leading just couldn't seem to put up the big lead. The other team keeps hanging around. Of course, if Al Bolduc was to put 2 marks up here, the match would be virtually tie.
Yes, there's one of them. That is mark number 3 for the team of Bolduc and Whitcomb. Vadney and DeFeo have 5 marks to this point.
Mix up.
Just for 4 fill, though, matching the 4 fill by Steve Vadney a moment ago.
Almost gives you the impression that they have something to do next week. Oh boy.
Ooh.
Heavy on the head pin. That's all he got was just that head pin, and still looking at 5 pins and threatening to lose a few in count. And he's going to do just that.
6. So that swells the lead up to 18 for DeFeo and Vadney, and Bruno DeFeo will try and add to it. Don't forget, next Sunday is semifinal week at noon. We'll have a semifinal singles match for you on Stars and Strikes, and then here at 5 o'clock on the Wins on Stars and Strikes doubles. Semifinal week as well, and one of these 2 teams will be in that match, but still very much up in the air right now as Bruno DeFeo adds a mark in the 7th. I want to remind you while I have a moment about our folks at Somerville Lumber, who are sponsoring this series on Stars and Strikes doubles. Somerville Lumber, where you can get it right the first time.
5-7 left for Bruno. Going to try to cap the piece of wood out in front, get that moving, or go by it and hit the wood on the right-hand tip. Well, he hit it, but he didn't catch enough of it to do any damage to the 7-pin. Make it 98 through 8. More important, he did put a mark 8 up. Bob Whitcomb's going to have to do at least 28 pins to keep it at 18.
Bob right on that head pin, and there's the strike. Wow, that was a triangle and the 10 pin, and they all kind of collapsed at once.
Look, he's going to have the 4, 7, 8, 10 left right now, and then they all seem to be tied together. All 4 of them go down for the strike. Looking for the double. Crossing over. There it is!
Yes, sir. Double strike, Bob Whitcomb. And the double high 5 from Al Bolduc.
So all of a sudden, the match is going to be extremely tight, depending on what Al Bolduc does when he gets up working on that double strike. Steve Vadney tries for one of his own. 4-8 left.
Spare in the 9th.
Oh, with a double strike working, Steve's thinking, I better get a big fill and another mark here in the 10th. Just a little heavy, half dozen, and a tough spare leave. 3, 6, 10 on the right with a 4-pin piece of wood in front of the 4. Well, if there was one important ball, it's going to be the next ball that Al Bolduc throws.
123 for the team of Vadney and DeFeo, a two-string total 232. And now Al Bolduc working on the double strike left by his partner. Looking pretty good. Oh, he came in full. That little extra turn at the end.
Looked like he was going right for the 1-3 pocket. Last minute broke to the left, which his ball usually does, and it hit the head pin flush. That's a good recovery. Ah, great spare. Woo.
What a shot that was.
Absolutely. I'm sure he would have taken the 9 fill on that, but it was able to trip the 4-pin out of there for the spare. Back on the head pin. 7-pin drop, 3-6-10 left. Fix this up, they have a chance to gain the lead. No, he's not going to.
Going to be very close, though, heading into that third and final game. Might even be tied. Now converts this 10. He does. And we are dead even. It is tied after 2 games, 232 for DeFeo and Vadney. Likewise for Bolduc and Whitcomb. We've got 1 game to settle it, and we'll be back to do it right after these words.
Even though I'm training for the Olympics, we've still got to stay on top of our finances. That's why we've got Preferred One from New Dartmouth Bank.
Preferred One combines all your New Dartmouth Bank accounts into one, giving you one combined monthly statement, plus advantages like bonus rates on savings, CDs, and loans.
I'll take all the advantages I can get.
With Preferred One from New Dartmouth Bank, the more you bank with us, the more you get for your money. We're working hard to be your bank.
Shipes has been in business for 90 years, and that's because of our commitment to the customer. My grandfather had a very simple philosophy, and that was to treat the customer the way you would like to be treated. This is a family business, and it has been for 4 generations. There is no better place to buy your window treatments than Shipes. There hasn't been a better place for 90 years.
Blast off with Flash Gordon to the beautiful planet Mongo.
Remember me?
Will Dale Arden lose Flash to the scantily dressed Galaxy Gal?
Yeah!
Will Ming the Merciless destroy Earth and the virtue of Dale Arden? Can Flash love 2 women and still save the human race? With music by Queen, Flash Gordon. Tonight at 8 on TV 50's Movie Watch.
This is Bob Whitcomb. We schedule these matches for three games, but it's only going to take 1 this time.
That's right.
Dead even after 2.
The difference right now is a double strike that this fellow right here put up in this 7th and 8th frames. His partner got up and punched through the middle in the first strike, but was able to convert it. Watch this. Whoa! Short pin.
And a 10 box for Bob.
No. Looked like something was going to come off the wall for the 4-pin, but didn't happen. Single pin. And this doesn't look like probably a pencil standing up down there. Oh, he pulled it to the left.
Stamped his foot as it went by.
I think he knew as soon as he let the ball go, he needed some real help.
Same spot. Steve Vadney will lead it off for the team of DeFeo and Vadney as they elect to switch their rotation for this 3rd game. And Steve will look at the 4-10 with Wood. It all depends on the angle of that wood, perhaps.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's got good angle, but let's see. If there's a way, Steve will find it. Just behind it. All these pins, I don't have to tell you, are very important. A lot of goose eggs on the scoreboard here. And we still, no game lead and total game, no lead. Look at that.
A lot of numbers up there, a lot of zeros. On the head pin, how about that for a pocket hit? Leaves the 7.
Watch the wood. That wood is not going to cover it, although the second piece could hold the first one in line for him. He's going to have to come up a little high. Looks good.
Yep.
Yeah. Second piece definitely was an advantage to him. So all of a sudden it's a 1-pin advantage plus the fill. Al Bolduc for the 3rd and 4th frames.
Started as a half Worcester. Got a couple more in the back. Just a little bit to the left. Oh, he went for it all and settles for 7. Again, that's a decision that you have to make, particularly in a tough match, whether to go for the 2 in the corner or to try for all 3.
Yeah, that's a close match. I don't know. I probably would have taken the 2. Tried to, but well, 3-6 on the left, right, I should say, and 4-7 on the left. Needs one of these to spark the team. Gonna be close.
Ooh. Took the 7 pin, but not quite enough for the 4.
Covers for the 10.
This leaves the advantage squarely on the ball of Bruno DeFeo as he steps up. Oh.
Now with just a decent fill, he can push the lead into double figures because he's opposite a 7 frame.
Big ball right here.
Oh, it is big too.
Ooh.
Just the 7 pin. Now he's got a choice here. You've got to make up your mind before you throw the ball. Going right at the pin.
Oh, and goes in the middle.
The choice I meant is there. He's playing the wood that time. You know, you have a foot to play with. I don't know. Well, I'm getting up there in age. I need all the advantage I can get. I would have, no doubt in my mind, I would have played the wood.
The lead is 13. Hammering through the middle that time.
And now he has to work out because he's opposite a 10 box. Gonna work the 2nd and 3rd balls to at least get a 9 or a 10. Keep the figure, the double figure lead.
Bruno makes it an 8 box. We are going to head to a break. 11 pins is the lead for DeFeo and Vadney. Still time left. The last 6 boxes will decide it, and we'll be back in a minute.
Dick Clark for Wish 99.5.
Finally, there's a station in Boston designed to make you feel good at work. Wish 99.5 FM. Wish plays soft favorites of yesterday and today. Songs by the artists you love. Barbra Streisand, Phil Collins, Whitney Houston. And Wish always plays 4 in a row with no talk. It's the one station everyone at work can agree on. So good you can listen all day long. Wish 99.5 FM.
Captain's log, stardate unknown. I command an enterprise where assassination of superiors is a common means of advancing in rank.
You must know what you're doing.
Let me go! Spock! Get these men off me!
You traitors! All right, Spock. Whatever your game is, I'll play it.
are merging, Doctor. I am ordered to kill you and to proceed against the Halkins.
Star Trek, tonight at 7 on WNDS.
Data's memory malfunction turns a Wild West fantasy into a real live shootout.
My God, you've been shot!
Now, with only primitive defenses, can Worf stop a gang of murderous outlaws?
Where have they taken my son?
And with no escape, can he survive a violent showdown?
There's a gunfighter out there who has the speed and accuracy of an android.
On an all-new episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Tonight at 6 on WNDS.
Here's Bob Whitcomb.
Crowd trying to urge him on.
Light hit, and there's the result.
Looks a lot worse than it is.
Yep.
He's on the 2-pin. He's got a nice angle in the wood for the 5 and the 8, possibly the 10, and hopefully the ball will continue through for the 7. Oh, everything but the 7.
You would figure that the 10-pin would be the tough one. That's a 9-box. Down 11, as you see. And of course, in the disadvantageous position, probably in this particular case, of having to put the score up first.
He's going to get both of them. 10-pin remains. Wood's going to stay against it. Wants to be above the red line. Don't go below the red line, which could snap the pin away from it. Watch out.
Made it.
Ooh, he shook his head. He says, uh-oh. He's smiling.
7th mark for the team. Here's Steve Vadney. Steve lives up in Claremont, New Hampshire, with his wife Annette. Daughter Jennifer and son Stevie. Stevie is here in attendance today. Steve works at Sturm Ruger and does a lot of his bowling at the Sunset Lanes in Newport, and he will look at the 4-7 for a mark. Oh no. I think Steve thought he had it.
I think so too. That's one of the most frustrating shots, I think. A 2-pinner, you hit the object pin in a 1/4 of an inch either way, the ball or the pin would have taken the other one. Instead, you settle for a 9. Well, if he doesn't mark here, here we go again. It'll be decent fill, and the match will be real close again.
On lane 29, Steve punches through the center, and he will be left with the 2, 6, 7, and 10.
And he's going to go after the 2-pin on the left-hand side. See if he can cut it over. He's going to be full on the 2-pin. Well, it's going to drop to 10 pins if he can capture the 6-10. That's what happens. So it's a 10-pin advantage for DeFeo and Vadney, but Al Bolduc is going to cut into that with a fill on the spare.
If he should throw a strike here, the match would be even.
Moving way to the left.
Actually stole an extra pin in the back. Looking for the spare. Nope.
See, he threw that ball much better than he did the first one. And you got to think it's sitting down for that length of time. And then getting up there takes you a ball to get loose again. So it's only 22 pins in those 2 frames, the 6 and 7, spare 4, 8.
Might be able to see Bruno DeFeo in the background sitting on the bench. You see him there on the left side of your screen. He keeps the one arm, the jacket on like a pitcher.
Good break there. Looked like he was going to have the spread eagle or at least the 3, 6, 10 and something else on the left. Pin came forward. He's taking a look at the wood. It's away from the 3-pin. Oh boy, didn't even give himself a chance. Regardless of how bad the wood is, you have to hit it to give yourself a chance for the spare. It was there.
There it was, yep. So 2 opens for Al Bolduc. And Bruno DeFeo comes up now with a chance to build on that 6-pin lead.
Be a huge mark if you could put at least one up in these two frames.
Oh my, right through the middle, the 1, 5, and 9 punched out.
Now I'm going to say it would be huge if you can get away with a 9 or a 10 box. He's opposite an 8 frame. So a 9 or a 10, he would gain some pins. Well, it's going to have to work.
Bad enough to have a box like this, but at this point in the match.
This is great, though. Last week, final frame. This week, it looks like it's going to be just about the same. So he loses 2 in count. The lead now is only 4. And we're missing the 8-pin.
Yeah, Bruno picked that out. He saw that the rack was missing the 8-pin, and he gets the re-rack, of course.
He doesn't get charged with a timeout or anything like that, does he?
No.
Re-rack.
Big first ball. Oh! Big strike. Bruno DeFeo in the 8th.
For a minute, I thought he was going to be left with just that 8-pin.
Well, I guess the delay with the re-rack didn't bother him, did it?
Look at that. 4 and the 8, and they both go together. Big strike for Steve Vadney to work on, already leading by 4. So Bob Whitcomb knows I've got to put at least 1, probably 2 marks up. Light hit, let's see. Oh, yes, just the 10-pin.
Now it all depends on that wood.
Well, you've got to shoot for the one that's looking at you. That's moving out of the way now anyways. And I don't think the wood next to it now is enough, close enough, so you can carry him the ball off that. I think he's got to have the 10-pin clean. He's got it anyways.
Oh, yes. What a shot that is in that situation.
Clutch mark. No doubt about it. Probably the toughest pin in the rack for a right-hander to hit is the 10-pin.
But he's probably going to need another mark, too.
Very important now. 7 or better and another mark. Looks pretty good going in. With that pin roll back? No, it's going to be an 8 drop.
Those are the same 2 pins that Bruno DeFeo kicked out for his strike.
Now in this situation, you've got to be thinking, I have to grab the 4-pin. If I punch out the 4, so be it. But I can't go by the 4-pin. Oh, no. And he does. Well, Steve Vadney would really have to butcher this strike not to win this match.
10 box, 105 for Bolduc and Whitcomb. A 3-string total, 337, which ironically is 1 pin higher than their total last week. Now they can only watch to see if it'll be enough.
Needs 106 to win, of course. They were tied coming in. He's at 101 clip right now, but he's working on the strike.
So if Steve throws at least a 6 on this strike, he will not need to mark again to win the match. You see, 9 marks for the team. Important first ball, and how about that? A big 9 drop.
That should just about do it. He's going to have to bowl the 10th, but he's not going to need too many.
And especially not now with that mark, because he's at 101 already. So it looks like Steve Vadney will get win number 28 in his Stars and Strikes career. And there it is. And his partner, Bruno DeFeo, will get win number 1. I'm sure he's feeling very good about that.
He leads the applause for his partner, Steve Vadney.
Nice to shoot at the diamond when you know you don't have to make it. And Steve will finish it with a 9, a 116, and that margin in the 3rd game is the difference in the match. 348 for Vadney and DeFeo, 337 for Bolduc and Whitcomb. Bruno DeFeo and Steve Vadney will move to the semifinals, and we'll be back to talk about it with all the bowlers in a minute.
Where would you go if you were rich? If I was driving, we'd go south in warm weather, and if he's driving, we'd go north in...
No, we'd go just plain north. That's all good country up there.
I would take my wife to Russia with me next week.
I'd get into my car and just drive off into the sunset and go wherever I could possibly go.
Well, it's 6 blocks south down the rotary traffic.
Pack up the band, take them to New Orleans, and then on to Hawaii.
Isn't it fantastic to be rich?
No one can overestimate the value of your health. Take care of your aches and pains with the help of Whole Life Chiropractic Clinic. Our well-known and highly respected doctors have 47 years of experience. Our facilities are among the largest in the state, and we utilize the most advanced technology available. We believe so strongly that Whole Life Chiropractic will help you feel great again that we're offering absolutely free a spinal exam and x-rays if required. Also, save up to $10 on massage therapy. Call for an appointment today. Whole Life Chiropractic Clinic of Manchester.
I'm not a real handyman myself, so I wanted to go the place where the contractors went. And then I went to Somerville Lumber, because I figured if they got their stuff there, that was a good place to start. And I discovered that I couldn't beat their prices for all the materials I got. And on top of that, they delivered it for free. So they saved me money. They saved me time. They saved me aggravation. They saved me a whole lot of anxiety. If you want to get it done right and get it done right the first time, you go to Somerville Lumber.
Welcome back for the second week in a row here on Stars and Strikes Doubles, a very, very close match. And let's meet the bowlers right now. First of all, let's call up Bob Whitcomb and Al Bolduc. They came up with the close win last week, but not quite enough this time. You did have a lot of people cheering you on, though. I want to make sure you get the checks here, fourth place money, $200 shared, and just couldn't get the necessary breaks when you had to have them.
Yeah, I missed a few shots in the end, but those guys made the big shots in the end. I got the double strike, kind of got us back in it, and that was about it.
This match was quite similar to last week, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a little bit more exciting, though. Things started to happen in the second string. At least we had a new lane record here.
Well, those lessons from Dan Murphy probably paid off then.
Oh, they definitely did. I think it's going to cost me what I won here for that.
Well, guys, congratulations. And, of course, you're both eligible to come back, so hope to see you again later in the season.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Bob and Al. And now let's call up Bruno DeFeo and Steve Vadney, who will be coming back to try and make it 2 in a row next week. And I know I want to talk to you first, Bruno, because this is your first win. This guy's won a whole bunch here, but this is the first one for you, so you got to be feeling pretty good about it.
I finally got it out of the way after a couple tough ones on the single show. Just luck, you know. Finally, maybe something turn it around a little bit. We'd have to open after that 6 box. He'd come back with something, give him something to work with, and he took over from there.
He came up with some big shots, and of course, you guys made it happen in the third game. It all came down to those last few boxes, basically.
Yeah, it looked like nobody wanted it there for a while, and Al missed a big shot there in the 10th, which was a gift for us, fortunately.
Well, next week, we got another gift for you. Mike Morgan and Mike Poulin are going to come in.
Yeah, well, know them both great guys, both great bowlers, so take it from there. Should be a great match. Hopefully we can hit the pins a little bit better than the first 2 shows were anyways.
All right, well, we'll be looking forward to that one next week. Congratulations, guys. Got 1 in the bank and looking for number 2 next week. We'll see you then. All right. Let's take a look at what is happening now for next week and the week beyond as we move to the semifinals of this series here on Stars and Strikes Doubles. Bruno DeFeo and Steve Vadney from that number 3 spot hold their position for now, and they get a chance to come back next week to face Mike Poulin and Mike Morgan in the semifinals.
That's going to be a good one, but they have to go something to top the excitement in the first 2 weeks of this ladder.
That's true. The matches have been very, very close, and we certainly hope that you'll be with us next Sunday here for semifinal week on Stars and Strikes. First of all, at 12 noon, of course, we'll have our singles semifinal for you. And then next Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock right here on Stars and Strikes Doubles for the semifinal match between Bruno DeFeo and Steve Vadney facing Mike Poulin and Mike Morgan. Until then, for Dan Murphy and the whole crew, Doug Brown, so long, everybody. Have a good week.